Let's talk about the business class, the education system, the fraternity system, university system, beloved, modern business, financing, the tech industry, and how it all kind of ties in. The financing, we keep talking about those wages were financed. A lot of those businesses didn't actually have a product, and they weren't making a thing. Some of it was software, some were coding and doing stuff like that, building websites. Those, we're not talking about that, guys. Those are actual products. That we can track the budget to the thing, to the money getting brought in, right? There's a stream. Costs, costing, manufacturing, that kind of concept. If you're not in that realm, then all the stuff you're doing is figurative, right? So we came up as humans from the celestial realm, from the cosmological era, from our powers, came the wisdom and understanding to create figuratives. Numbers came from the ether realm. You want to call it the cloud, whatever realm we get access to pull information. Those things, those concepts, were so that we could quantify physical things and create resplendent architecture, structure, concept, organization that functions for humans. Not so that we create companies that we serve, right? That's what all this financing did. It put humans in slave of companies. And companies used to serve humans. Instead, serve a nation, right? Service the needs, right? We could even look at the waste where we let people get too fat. Guess what happens? We have to make medical supplies, one-off things. Industries have to make stuff for those people. Those clothes aren't viable because they don't make enough of them to make the margins they do on the other things. Wasteful. Letting people get just that. In the medical industry, those things sit forever. The bariatric stuff sits forever. No one really, you have to be that specific weird morphology. And some people never make it to some of the sizes of this stuff. Just sits there. Waste. Those things got financed. The wages for people, those things got financed. All those things got financed. But the worst with the tech industry, we can see even with those products, there's a huge waste stream of overflow that gets eaten up in finance. We didn't need any of those things. We're supposed to be making the things that we need kind of when we need them, for who needs them, for the most part. Not flooding the world with stuff before they need it, right? And that's where financing came in. We suckered the world into thinking that it was good to finance before you need something, a bunch of people to come up with the industry of research, development to come up with something, and to sneak into other industries to see if they're viable, or if they have the equipment to be viable in other industries. That's what you have, guys. You have an industry financed above you of people who think they're better than the people who make products because this is where it ties into universities. All these people went to school. They got smart and are like, let's make businesses because we don't actually want to physically make things. So let's make businesses that do stuff with the computers, right? But they didn't know exactly what everybody needed. But we built businesses that had people that could code and could make stuff that was software, right? That coagulated and dissolved, that was your tech boom industry. It was never supposed to really happen. Software lives on your computer and on your hard drive. There wasn't supposed to be so many companies dumping into it. That's why so many companies got into it. It was financed, and it created a boom and bust that we're still living in and out because there's still layovers of people that figured out how to kick the can down the road because their business was into finance and they got basically reset, bailed out. That's what the word is. Who bailed them out? You Americans. Because they speculate on your M2, your industries, on your money, on your purchases, instead of their own purchases being speculated upon. If the businesses had to speculate on their own M2 and their own little enterprise, they couldn't sell anybody bonds. They could only sell businesses bonds and countries bonds. No, they sell bonds everywhere. It's not shuttled and siloed. It's spilled over onto us, and we've absorbed the overage, the overwages, the stuff that really didn't go into anything. That money got financed. It doesn't go to air. Somebody pays it, guys. It doesn't just disappear as a crash. It gets applied to somebody. It gets applied to Americans, right? So these industries, the whole, how it ties in with the university process is all these people don't want to do these jobs. They want to be leaders. They want to be management. So they go to school to learn how to be management because they don't learn how to do the actual trade thing, right? They don't do the industry. They learn how to be the brain above the industry. That's great. That takes a lot of mind. Typically, people that can't get into that unless they were in that industry and got raised up and elevated in the mind after being experienced, because there's nothing that beats experience. I did labor trades. You cannot go to school and show up day one. Unless you went to HVAC school and you got one hands-on one like I did, where they really worked with you and you physically did the things, you're not going to know a damn thing. And in business, I got a business administration project management degree. You get into a business, everybody does something different. Everybody has a different software. Everybody has a different response pathing. Everybody has a completely different day. Some people, I went up clicking buttons. I was showing up in meetings, clicking buttons, calling people on the phone, basic stuff. No sales, coordinating deliveries. That has great value because lots of money is getting made when those equipment deliveries show up. But that's an industry that you can track the money for the labor, right? When you're a developer, you write code, you can track the money for the labor. It's on a project management budget. But everything has a budget, but does that budget go into a thing that gets sold that creates a stream of income, right? If you're financing things that don't create the instant income, a small business unit in a business doesn't always create an income. They're trying to just determine if viability is possible. Financed, air money, right? We suffer from the propensity and the possibility and the potential of a company getting into something else. And they finance it on our backs. They don't say, hey, America, can we look into this industry and see if it's viable? Do you guys want this? Is this a product you guys need us to be making for you? Are we the best person to make it for? Are we making the best price where people purchase the most from us? Are we paying our tax percentage on the portion of M2 or the supply we borrow? Because that's what it's really supposed to be. Those businesses are supposed to be only pulling out of their own little money supply, speculating against their own money, against their own resources, and their own purchases and expenses, not our supply and demand desires, right? Because the company shouldn't even be there without the supply and demand, right? They shouldn't even show up. Companies should be based on needs. We shouldn't be having international concerns. The corporate occupation, international concern thing, it should be either only international concerns or only private stuff. But we have it all mixed. All our money's mixed. And we suffer and absorb the problems in our banking sector of the financing of the business sector. You've absorbed every crash, guys. The money doesn't just go away, right? It goes in the way of inflation, bonds, and all the weird ass shit that kicks the can down the road because they're not going to let it stop. The issue is we're in the tech industry where they're finance these huge infrastructures for data and stuff. We don't actually need those things. None of us need those data infrastructures. None of those are actually for the American people for anything, right? Because they're going to take your jobs. They're going to steal anything that it gets to see on the internet and turn it into something against your industry, against what you're trying to be competitive with, against your future, and against your children's future. You're handing it over to the finance industry, who's basically obsoleted you, obsoleted your resources, obsoleted your children because they want other countries' children servicing the stuff because they can oppress them better because their rights are worse out there, which they prefer those people, right? Which is why you Americans, we got to figure something out that cuts them out. We cannot have people from other countries servicing us here, obsoleting our children, ourselves, our future, our resources, and our ability to be viable in our own economy. Something's going to happen, guys. Something big's going to happen. These people have decidedly financed us out of our own authority, and then they oppress us out of our own rights. It could flip in a day. The culture has to change of, oh, I'll just be whatever a corporation wants me. The corporations, you can give them all your money. They'll never do nothing good for you. We give them all our money, our tax money. And you know what they do? They continue to oppress us, oppress our rights, don't give us the opportunities we need to be successful. Meanwhile, they're successful on our backs, and whenever they fail, we absorb it. They get the bailout. We get the bail in. They bail our money in and our finance opportunities in, and our interest rates go up. That's why your interest rates are go up, because the fucking business industry is insolvent, and we give big ass loans to old motherfuckers in houses who aren't going to be able to live long enough to pay the loan off. So we're going to end up absorbing that whole concept. They're happy because they get to sell it again, but we absorb the shit that don't get paid. That liquidity system is absorbed by the classes that are in that monetary system borrowing, which is why your interest rates go up, guys. Take a look at this stuff. You kids, if you kids see this, unless you're in an industry that you can see, if it's an air industry where popularity is what drives the purchase of the things, your post-consumerism industry, that could fail industry. That industry that everybody likes you, clicks industry, we're associating with you as the brand and product. The moment the fucking economy fails, ain't nobody be looking at that. It happens fast. China's not making shitloads of money off the TikTok stuff no more. China's not, social media is crashing, guys. They gotta crash it because they have to have you guys in a position for the next thing that's coming. Just some thoughts. Later, beloved.